Hey everybody, welcome to the Purpose People podcast. Today we're going to have an amazing conversation. I know it's going to be great. And we've got Clayton from Street to Boardroom. So welcome, Clayton.
Thank you for having me, Daryl. Thank you.
This began with a little bit of a catch up on LinkedIn, didn't it?
Of course.
We were connected and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And we thought, well, let's reach out. You're essentially living your purpose, aren't you? I would say.
Yeah, I'm probably living it 9.9%.
Yeah,
So fully living it, basically.
Fully living it, yeah.
Yeah.
And you got an incredible story and a background story. So what we ask our guests to do is, rather than focus on what you're doing now, we build up to it, is just tell a bit about where you come from.
Okay. So yeah, I'm born in the 80s. I'm an 80s baby. Born in St. Paul's, where you had the kind of St. Paul's riots. We also had that in Brixton as well. I went to Filton High School, what was more of a Cajun school.
Yeah.
And I went to Filton High School as well, where I ended up being sports captain head boy.
Okay.
So from an early age, I kind of understand about culture, diversity, just because my parents wanted me to send me a school outside my community. At that time, St. Paul was quite rough at that time.
Yeah.
When a lot of gang culture, opportunities, the black and white cafe. And my parents just wanted me to see a different life, really. So they sent me to Filton High School, as I said to you, and Colston Primary School. And I think, if I'm right, Filton High School was a 45 minutes trip on the bus.
Oh my gosh.
And a 45 trip backwards. That's not including any traffic as well. So they just wanted me to see the world differently. And so from there, I was able to kind of free my mind.
That's quite a really forward-thinking, insightful choice.
Of course, well, they couldn't afford private school, so that was the next thing for me.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And do you look back now and think that was a wise choice?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Because as I said to you, the world opened up to me very quickly at a young age.
Yeah.
At that time, I thought that was crazy. What are you doing? I want to be around my friends.
Yeah.
But as I get older, I realized, to be honest with you, it was important what they did, and it's made me look at the world much differently compared to a lot of people.
I think just from an outsider looking in, what it's done is you are very inclusive as a person anyway. You embrace and talk and discuss with a whole load of people from, doesn't matter what background they're from. And I think that's something that you've had from a young age, and it's grown. So I think what your parents did, I love it. I think it's great. Regardless of whether they had the money to send you to the school, it's just it's a decision it's a decision made for generations. And I think what I've experienced is there are not many people that make decisions for generations. And I know you and the life that you're living and the things that you're doing, you're making choices for generations, removing that the stigmas, the challenges, the stereotypes from generations, to be able to reset those and say, it doesn't matter where you're from, everyone's got an opportunity. And obviously people have perceptions about certain people, and then all of a sudden then it's like try and limit them. And actually it's not about limitations. It's about, we're all human. We're all created in we're all black, white, green, orange, or whatever. But there's something that's talented within us that we need to express, and it's to find that superpower and turn it around for good. So, knowing your business, which you'll share on in a minute, that I think just that starting off, kicking off with that, just as really, for me, that I can understand how you've ended up doing what you're doing. Of
course.
It's amazing. So at school, in a white community, where at some point then you finished school.
Yeah.
Or did you finish school?
I finished school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what was the
So
what was the
I
plan
finished
then?
school as sports captain, head boy. So I was
What sport? What was your
So my sport was football, rugby. I wasn't the best, but I was kind of a leader type. At that age, someone just said, do you want to be sports captain? And they just put me forward. And the head boy, I went for that. And at that time,
It's a bit of a leader.
made that a leader type. But at that time, I didn't know what leadership was. I was just doing it because
Just fell into it.
fell into it. When I finished school, I ended up doing my dances. So I done some working with Galaxy at the time. Galaxy really doing a bit of dancing for them. So you got dancing for Brandon Block and DJs. I then worked for a company called Crazy Dance, where we put under 18s artists on as well. So I worked with Blue, Brian Harvey, So Solid. And then also I worked in a second-hand shop where I learned about antiques. So I was kind of the Del boy, the black Del boy of that generation, should I say. So I done that as well. And then
Did you have a collective, bit like Del Boy?
No, I just kind of...
Did you have a trigger in your
I
game?
know that. All I had was me. I just worked in a second-hand shop. We know about diamonds and jewelry, and I was kind of like, someone got me a job that my dad did, because I couldn't get no jobs at that time. So my dad just kind of ride with the man or said to the man, can you give my son an opportunity? And he did. And I just learned about tricks and then really.
Wow.
And then always kind of worked for the Bristol City Council. So I was an arts coordinator, a training arts coordinator. So I used to fund like the St. Paul's Carnival, Harbourside, and we used to give them funding as well. So I done as a traineeship. And then after that, just went into kind of youth work. So my background's really always been creative. And I've never done anything for the money. I've always done anything for the love, 100% all my life.
So you've made decisions over impact above income.
Yeah, before I know what that was.
Amazing. Yeah,
before I knew what it was. So I wasn't like what everybody's doing now. Everybody's talking about what I want, purpose driven.
Yeah.
I was doing that. I didn't know what it was.
Yeah, you
and
just
the reason why I
followed
done that, because I remember looking at my parents' house on a Monday morning and everybody's going to work and look fed up. And I thought there's got to be a better life to this.
Well done.
So from an early age, I would say probably about 10, I thought to myself, I'm going to do something great. Don't know what it's going to be, but I'm not going to follow everybody else. Because everybody else I'm following doesn't look happy, so why would I follow them? It didn't make sense.
That's awesome.
Logically, it didn't make sense.
Yeah. But you were brave enough to ask those questions. Not many people do. They just get on with it.
Yeah, I think I was brave when that's obvious. And I didn't fit in. I didn't fit into anywhere, really. The thing about me, why I was based, because I came from a more diverse community, but I kind of went to a white school.
Yeah.
But then my white kind of friends didn't understand where I come from. I didn't really fit nowhere.
Yeah.
So when you look at the brand Street to Boardroom, I'm the number 2 in Street to Boardroom. I brought these 2 words together and I'm the interpreter. So that's what I kind of do.
Yeah.
And as I said, at that age, I didn't know what I was doing. I just this is who I am as a person.
So obviously, knowing your business, Street to Boardroom and the things we do, and we do a bit of an overview there. But let's just focus on the street side of things first. So you've had a good upbringing, you've had a great schooling and stuff like that. Where did the street come in from the essence of the dance culture and the music scene and that sort of stuff? Did you create links and empathy with that? Because obviously you going straight in and going, hi, how are you? You've got to understand that background, right?
Of course.
So how did you get to that point where you kind of got a feel and an understanding for street and street culture?
I think, to be honest, as I said, where I was brought up, I done all right in school. Obviously, I wasn't really in a lot of trouble. My school was pretty different compared to a lot of schools around the community. But I think it's my background why I was growing up in the St. Paul's at that time. And I realised I found it hard to get opportunities myself when I was growing up. And I thought, if I'm finding it hard and I got no criminal record, God knows about the guy down the road.
Yeah.
But when I worked in the council, I realised that the people in the council was no smarter than the people I knew. It was just a different language.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, well, I know people can do this. and I've always said people, if you put people from the street in the corporate world, they would do better than a corporate person in the street. So when you look at the business, there's not much different than both of them. So on the street side, you've got your product, the weed. On the corporate side, you've got your product, computers.
Yeah.
On the street side, you've got your crew. On the corporate side, you've got your team. On the street side, you've got your boss man. On the corporate side, you've got your manager, CEO. On the street side, you make money, lose money. On the corporate side, it's profit and loss. On the street side, marketing is word of mouth. On the corporate side, it's social media. On the street side, you go prison or death. And on the corporate side, you turn bankrupt, you lose your job.
Yeah.
So really, it's the same kind of stuff what they're doing. But I said to you, the person on the street is taking more of a risk because this is about life and death.
Yeah,
the corporate person gets a salary, gets commission, maybe gets sacked, but probably get another job. So when I figured that out, I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to call this brand Street to Boardroom. And that's how it kind of happened.
How it happened. So you got to the situation, so, so you're working for various different companies, Bristol City Council and things like this. Where did you find, was it just because you found that the people on the street weren't getting the opportunities? Is that where that compassion came from or that heart to help come from?
I think it came with me because as much as I was doing stuff and I worked in a shop and stuff, I was even doing volunteer working places, or I was on very, very low money.
Yeah.
But I knew that knowledge was power and I knew everybody wants somebody to work for free. So I knew if I just apply for free and have my CV or my, job description, I was ticking stuff off.
Yeah.
So what I was doing, say, if I wanted to go event management, I would go for a volunteer place for free, but I would bring the job description with me. And as I'm going through my work experience place or my workplace, I would tick off each task. So I've got that, I've got this, I got that. So that's how I build up my skills. But coming back to your question, why do what I do? I think because I was the outsider, and I still am the outsider, if I'm honest to you. I wasn't the street person, but I wasn't the guy going to Fulton High School, or I wasn't from that background. Like Redcliffe is quite a lot of big houses there, Victoria houses. So I didn't really fit into nowhere. And I was frustrated with the system because the system wasn't letting me in. But when I looked at most of my friends I went to school with, I had more than they did, and more skills and more qualification they did. So everything what people told me was a lie. People said, you work hard, you do this, you get in. I'm thinking, well, there ain't no one like me around. I'm going to get a job easy. Yes.
Yeah.
I realized that's not the case. So I just got frustrated, and I said I can keep banging doors down, or I can create my own lane. And I decided to create my own lane.
So what do you think are the main barriers then to you, for those people on the street or whatever getting into decent opportunities? What would you say?
People don't come out their comfort zone. That's the problem.
They don't what, sorry?
People don't come out their comfort zone.
Right, yeah.
A lot of people say they want difference, but no one does it. We tell children to do things differently, but adults, they don't do it as well.
No. Yeah,
So it's a lie,
no, good point, yeah.
And I realized that when I done something with the Prince's Trust, and why young people didn't go to the Prince's Trust from my background, as in disadvantage, it's because they thought Prince's Trust is posh, upper class, Prince's Charles owns it. But what I realized that people from the Prince's Trust organization want to go to the community.
Yeah.
It's a bit like me going to a Chinese restaurant to try and get Caribbean food.
Yeah.
Logically, you're not going to get the food there. So to me, people don't want to come out of their comfort zone. And like, when you come from where I come from that place where it was just, there was no choice. If I fail, they expect me to fail. What's new? If I go to prison, it's new.
Just another statistic.
But if I make it, it's like being winning the lottery. So in a way, I didn't really have a lot of odds against me, technically, because I can only go up. I can't really go down.
Yeah.
And I think for me, I had to be street to boardroom for people to believe it's possible.
And I think there is a big thing to be said that there are some people in life, not everybody, that don't fit in because they're supposed to be bridges.
Yep.
And they're supposed to be the bridge between two worlds.
Yeah.
And they often don't fit in either space, and they go, oh, well, I can't fit, I won't conform. And I think you hit the nail on the head where when you find someone in that place, they're absolutely the one that has to create it, to create that link between the two worlds. And I think you came to that realization fairly early on that, if I can't find the answer, I'll be it. And I guess that's what you're showing all these other people maybe to do the same.
Definitely. I think showing different people that you can just kind of be yourself. And to be honest, you do try and fit in. That's where you get the mental health issues as well, because you're a form to be it's not really you.
Yeah.
And I've seen that too many people, when I looked at people from my background or people the same kind of me, they had to try and form to fit in.
Yeah.
And they don't end up being there. There's no culture. There's no blackness. There's no culture. It just seems like a black guy being white, if I'm honest to you.
Yeah.
And I didn't like that. I couldn't understand it. If I'm pouring someone and she's Somali and I want to bring her culture to work.
Yeah.
If I'm bringing a woman and she's come from, I don't know, Africa, I wanted to bring her culture. But I find a lot of times people try to fit in. And to me, diversity is not about just skin or color. It's about thought, how you think, how you imagine things. And for me, I'm not down with that too much. I want people to be their authentic self, because I think that's where you get the best out of people.
100%. I'm part of a church that I was looking around just on Sunday, and I'm looking around and thinking, wow, it's just so many different people from so many different backgrounds, and that's how it should be. And for me, it's a case of, but I don't see that in everyday life. It's the strangest thing. It's like I see in the church, it is like that, but then you'll go to a corporate company, it's not like that. It doesn't. Society's still not doing that role very well. It's almost like
because people
hang with your tribe and leave you there.
Well, people fear that they don't understand. So what they do, they have a tick box exercise. So you employ somebody what maybe different, but looks like me or acts like me, but maybe black.
Yeah.
And a lot of them, you just get the same imagination. But if you look at someone like Eminem, he's big in the hip hop game. He's a white rapper.
Yeah.
Why? Because he's authentic and he's honest and he's true to the culture. Then we had someone like Vanilla Ice, who tried to make it, was from the suburbs, I think, or somewhere kind of different than Eminem.
Yeah.
It didn't last long. So people can't understand. It's not about color or gender. It's about, I feel you understand my journey, or you want to understand my journey.
Yeah.
That's what the key. What people's getting wrong.
But that's the same in music. So, like in music, for example, you know, there are bands that were manufactured to reflect a certain culture, and there are bands that it was just an extension of who they were, and one is manufactured, and one eventually they go and then out, and the other one has that longevity because they're being who they're supposed to be. Cool. And you know, whether it's rock music, whether it's rap music, whether it's, you know, jungle or whatever, you know, the key thing there is that if it is authentic with it's part of you, then that's what it is. It's authentic and part of you. If it's manufactured, you can fake it for so long and you get found out.
Exactly.
You know, absolutely. I remember I was my music taste kept changing. So nice. I was
it still does.
Yeah. So like in the early 90s, I was into the Ice Cube and all the NWAs and all that, Public Enemy and all that sort of thing. And then I started to move into a bit more rock music and stuff like that. And long story short, eventually I got caught up in the whole Britpop movement, where Oasis and all this sort of stuff. And you've got middle class white guys, rich, trying to be like Liam Gallagher, who's come from a working class background. And it's the same thing, you know, just because you grow your hair and you wear round sunglasses or whatever, you're not Liam Gallagher. You don't understand where he's come from.
Of course.
You don't understand the fight that his mum and dad, and, you know, his dad used to beat them up and beat the mum up and all this sort of stuff. You don't understand that background. And then pretending that you are is very difficult. And I remember watching a band, they were called Menswear, and they were manufactured by the industry to be a mod rock type band. Yeah. So they're supposed to be the next Oasis. They didn't last long. And yet they were on the cover of all the magazines, everything out there. But the whole thing was, but they ended up with massive drug problems instantly. Wow. And literally just burnt out within about 6-7 months. But that was in that movement. That was one of the big things of they've seen it. Let's just manufacture it and let's see if we can get the same results for Oasis. No. The reason why Oasis worked, the reason why MWA worked, the reason why, you know, Ice Cube worked or Naughty by Nature and all these things, because they're being true to who they are, talking about their situations, their problems, and there's that empathy piece that go, yeah, I get that, I'm going through that right now. And people, they understand me, and that's the biggest thing about an audience, you know, and 100%. A brand is understanding the empathy piece and then bring value. And I think what you've done with your business is you've taken those sort of traits and say, I understand where you're at, I understand the frustration, the difference is I did something about it, so come 100%. Follow me. 100%. So just tell me a little about Street to Boardroom then. Just tell me the journey from Street to Boardroom. What sorts of people do you actually work with, and how does it happen?
I started Street to Boardroom in 2016.
Yeah.
As a CIC company, community interest company.
Yeah.
Didn't want to get involved in business, so I just done it because I wanted to make a change in the world.
Yeah. So
it wasn't about making money. It was about just doing it for the sake of it. It's really out of frustration. And what we got kind of a few parts. So we got the first course was called Learn the Legal Hustle. Was a 4 weeks motivation business course. What allowed people from the streets or at risk of getting involved in the street to learn their business skills, transfer their skills over. So a bit what I talked about earlier about the street lingo versus the corporate lingo when I looked at the two objects. So we do that over 4 weeks. We do that in a corporate environment. So a bit of a recruitment company environment between the hours of 9 to 5. The reason why we do it between the 9 to 5 and we do it in a recruitment environment because it gets people out of their comfort zone.
Yeah.
I found a lot of times is you're trying to do something, but you do it where people's from and where they live. They don't take it so seriously. Mm-hmm. But automatically, when you take them out of their comfort zone, they automatically change.
Yeah.
They usually freeze in the first couple of weeks, but they have to automatically change. Yeah. So that does quite well. And then we got something called the car boot hustle, where we get young people to put a car boot sell and get to keep all the profit.
Okay.
So you look at something like Bargain Hunt, and they actually go to the antique place. We actually do that with the young people.
And that's using your skills in that whole antique trade. Yeah.
And these is just like young kids who kind of at venture playgrounds, maybe just want to get in business, but want more fun.
Yeah.
And then I actually do that with somebody who's involved in been involved in Bargain Hunt before. Yeah. An antique roadshow, so we actually do it together.
Oh wow!
So
cool.
You get a real experience.
Yeah.
And then they put a car boot sell and keep all the profit. We've also a partnership with Swans University.
Yep.
So we got the Street to Boardroom Learn the Legal Hustle course starting at university in September this year.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So you're able to study Street to Boardroom Legal Hustle course in September.
Do you know a girl called? Oh, I can't remember her last name. She's shoot me. Bernie. Bernie and Mark, they run an Intrabid Swansea.
No.
I need to hook you up with
Okay.
them because they'd be good. Because Bernie's got an amazing story as well. That's her world,
Okay.
Swansea and stuff. So
Yeah.
remind me, I'll definitely
Brilliant.
connect you. That'd be good.
So that's a 5 weeks course. The reason why we did it for 5 weeks, we didn't want to go degree a foundation course where it's 1 year and you pay $9,000.
Yeah.
We wanted to focus on the legal hustle course, but do it at academic level. So at the end of the course, you get a certificate, but actually could be a module as well. And
Yeah.
you could put that towards the foundation course as well. So that's what we're looking to go. And yeah, we just partnered with Swansea with that. The reason how that happened is I had a lady that she was criminology. She done a work placement or assignment on me.
Yeah.
And she ended up getting like a first in assignment, grading her masters, and we're getting featured in a book.
Oh,
So the
okay.
university said to me, what would I like to do in return? So I said, I want to start my own after street to board legal school at university.
Yeah.
Took about 4 months. She got back to me. She said, yeah, we're happy for do that. We cannot do the academic side, but you could focus on how you want to do it.
Fantastic.
And the great thing about this is what you can have someone on the street and somebody corporate teaching the course together.
Yeah. Which is building the bridges between the
Exactly.
two.
So
100%.
street to boardroom. And I've always dreamed of having my university course because I dropped out of uni. It wasn't for me. But I've always said I'm going to create my own one day. And this is what we've done. So
It's a
the
big
goal
step
is
on the
to
way.
go with Swansea and then sell the license in the UK and abroad as well. And then we're trying to get street to boardroom on TV as well. So we've been trying about 5 years. Trying to get street to boardroom similar to The Apprentice.
Yeah.
This is as close as we got. I signed to a few production companies before. And as you said about stuff people don't like change, we tried to get through the doors and the production companies liked it, but the TV channels didn't sign it. And I was like to the production companies, let me sell it, because I know what I'm doing, let me sell the idea. They was like, no, we can do it. Now I've done it independent myself. This is the furthest we've gone with it. So really, I realized
What
that
stage are you at with it at the moment? then?
I'm at the stage now where it's actually going to a channel now at the moment. But I've actually been talking to a lawyer, like a entertainment lawyer and stuff like that. So at the moment, this is as close as we've been with it. And hopefully we're here in a couple of months' time now if we've been signed. And it'll be filmed in Bristol, it'll be great news.
Yeah.
They won't be fired every week, so they go all the way through the course. And it'll be over 6 weeks. So I have no background in TV, no background in academics or anything like that.
But
a lot
you-
of things
you're
I do is
pushing
by faith, kind of believe in myself.
Yeah.
And I kind of, as I said to you, my two worlds is kind of made me who I am. So I can think really as somebody from a corporate background. I could think like that. But I could sort of speak to my man them on the road and say, well, go on, bloody safe.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I
yeah.
understand how to adapt myself, but I can still dress like this.
Yeah.
So for me, it's very easy to move myself into how I want to do things.
But that again, it's the beauty of being someone that's a bridge. I mean, there's a not quoting the Bible, but I will anyway. The Bible it says that you can be all things to all men.
Of course.
And being all things to all men is essentially understanding where they're coming from,
Yeah.
engaging with them, and then taking them on a journey. And I think that's what you're doing as a bridge. And I think that it is a unique skill that people can do that. But that to create a TV show is clearly the next natural step of raising the profile of what you're doing. I mean, I think a little bit like you. If the TV stations don't want it, then the platforms might. Do you know what I mean? And you almost go, well, fine, then I'll get on and create it, and then worry about where I'm going to distribute it second. But it looks like you're on the way, which is incredible.
Yeah, it took me years. And to be honest with you, I get more support out of Bristol. But as you read the Bible, you already know you can't be a prophet in your own town.
Yes.
As you probably know that already.
Yeah.
A guy obviously read the Bible.
Yeah.
So all my contacts happen out of town.
Yeah.
As much as, and it's bizarre.
Yeah.
You know, we've been in like 25 magazines worldwide.
But but the strange thing with that is even in the area of working with your teams or whatever, you'll be working with a team and someone will be saying the same thing, and then they bring an expert in to say the same thing that person's been saying, but they take it from the person on the outside in. So
I've been at those meetings.
Yeah.
Got people from London, Birmingham come down and talk about young people. They say, you need to work with Clayton. After the meeting, I'm thinking, yes, all the contacts are open. It don't happen.
wow.
Because what people don't understand is I'm quite authentic and I'm honest.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of just baseball hat, normal guy. But at the same time, I've gone to academic level. So as you say you got a degree, or something, I say I'm creating my own course. So they don't know how to deal with that. People don't know how to deal with that.
Yeah, yeah.
Because what they realize is that the academic degree or master's is higher. But if I say I'm creating my own, what can you tell me? Yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
So I see people's face change automatically because they think, okay, I thought street to boardroom was, okay, urban, street,
Yeah.
kind of ghetto-ish.
Yeah, yeah.
But now he's gone to academic.
Yeah.
How do I deal with this guy? This guy knows what he's doing now. I don't understand street, but I understand academic.
Yeah, but that limitation is you just because of the color of your skin, you're obviously street, but you're not. But you're not the
exactly.
boardroom. You know,
I know the thing is that I think I just don't, because we got guys obviously color my skin who don't act like me.
Yeah.
We have to be honest to ourselves,
Yeah,
Who's got further in life, but they have to form to the system.
Yeah.
And that's the difference, yeah.
And you want to.
Why would I want to form to the system and then not be happy? It just don't make sense to me. Logically don't make sense. Why would you want to do that? Go to work, not be yourself. Life is so hard already. You want to put that extra pressure on your life.
Yeah, yeah.
To me, I just don't understand the point of that. So for me, it's about just trying to be yourself and trying to think what's your purpose inside. And I believe that everybody knows what they're doing. They just don't know what their purpose is. But they know that's not for me. That is for me. But they don't actually know how to get out of it.
Yeah,
does that make sense?
Yeah, that's a good one. We talk about purpose, that some people might not be able to articulate what that purpose is, but they know what it's not. But the thing is to encourage them enough to keep trying, keep experimenting to find out what it actually is. And what you'll find goes back to conforming is they know they've got to go and do something unique, but life hits them too hard, and they just say, you know what, actually, I'm going to play in my box. I'm going to conform. I'm going to work in this company for the next 25 years and not do the thing that I really love, Now, a natural outworking of that is often some people become entrepreneurs and they start their own and create it. But the other thing is you could just be changing your role, like move from one company to another and actually do what you're supposed to do. So I think there's that. We're talking about football earlier on. It's like Jurgen Klopp works for someone. He's not an entrepreneur, but he is living his purpose. And he did a fantastic job the other day. But but for me, it's the whole street to boardroom journey is taking people from one place to another. One of the things I used to go into Ashfield when Ashfield used to be a young offenders prison. And what I found with the young people there, from whatever background they were, is they felt more in tune with the people that were in prison than they did back home. And so they actually kept re-offending to be around their people because the people in there understood them, but the people around them didn't. And there were some clever people in that environment, like really switched on people that were using their skills for ill-gotten gain, so to speak. But they just said, you know what? I remember talking to one kid and he was like, I get discharged in the next couple of weeks. Oh, that's awesome. Well done. He said, I'll see you in a month. I'll be back in. And I was like, well, what are you going to do? He said, well, I'm just going to go and sell drugs again and then I'll be back in here. He said, I don't want to be out there because no one understands me.
No, but it's the same thing we talked about. People don't come out their comfort zone.
Yeah.
And it's not just people from that background. I would say, out of 100% of people I've met who come out their comfort zone, I say you're lucky to get 2% of people come out their comfort zone. Everybody tell you they're doing it.
Yeah.
But you actually people don't do it. And that's whatever background. Not just people from the street, corporate, white and black. People don't come out their comfort zone. Because that's where the magic happens. And I think generally when you look at street to boardroom, it's more than actually the street stuff. It's about diverse inclusion. It's about bringing two worlds together. But I just done it in a smart way. Because diverse inclusion, two different people come together, audience coming together, and class. But as you know, and I don't know if you know this, but when you talk about diverse inclusion, some people they don't have to deal with that. It's diverse inclusion. It's kind of a bit funny for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So I was smart enough to call a brand about diverse inclusion, but you don't actually think about diverse inclusion.
But there are certain names for things that we frame and we put in a box, and they call it this and they call it that, to box tick exercises. And I think when it becomes box ticking, it's actually not authentic. It's not real. And I think what I found is that in the areas of life, there are many things that we do and we don't ask questions on. I was reading a thing this morning. For the first time in 14 years, it's cheaper to rent than to buy.
Wow.
And then I was reading an article where they're saying this person was talking about getting a mortgage and buying a house, getting a mortgage. He said that is the acceptable thing. But then he tells the story. He said, and then I woke up and I said, you know what? I'm not going to do this. And what he did is he took his deposit money and invested it in the company. He said, now 25 years on, I actually bought my house in cash because I chose to be uncomfortable and not doing what everybody else was doing. And I'm saying that it's not for everybody, but the overriding principle was asking questions. You know, I'm not having to go at people that got mortgages or houses or whatever, but just ask the question that, does it have to be that way? Do you have to do it that way? Is there a better way to get me to go to where I am? You know, me going working for a corporate company for 25 years or 30 years for a pension at the end of it and not living until I'm 60 because I'm staying because of my pension, you've just wasted a whole load of years of your life not happy just because of the pension at the end. When in fact, why don't you start living life now rather than when you retire?
Exactly.
You know, and so what I'm trying to say is to encourage people to start living life now, not living life after retirement or whatever. Start asking those bigger questions a lot earlier, you know. And I think for me, what you're doing is you're fusing two worlds, and just because those two worlds are together, that is challenging people.
Definitely. Yeah. And it's uncomfortable. But as you said, when you get the right person what believes in you, like Swansea University, anything's possible.
Well, you're in one university, now you can go to two, and then to 3 to 4 to 5,
and I go to authentic me myself. I go with my tracksuit or my suit.
It
depends how you look at it.
Yeah. So tell us some success stories, because you know it's always good to hear how you have made an impact and the people that you've actually helped.
The biggest impact for me is I had a person who went on my course, and he had 2 restaurants, and I think he had about 22 people part-time. So that was kind of the biggest impact I have, That was quite a big guy, because he only went on my course for 2 sessions. And it was 4 weeks altogether, once a week, mind. And I just got him the right mentor. But I kind of knew he kind of had the focus, the vision already. And he just needed the right encouragement. So I think that's my biggest success, what I've done. I've done like generally working, obviously, in Villy Green and stuff like that. And obviously TV stuff and ball games. But I would say as an impact, what I think is one of the biggest is that one, I would say.
Yeah. So what would your legacy be? You know, you've died.
Yep.
And what's going to be written on your gravestone?
I think, to be honest, my goal really is to make Bristol a better place.
Okay.
I'm quite confident I can do that, make it Bristol better, more diverse for a lot of different people. I think what I would do is probably, I think people just say that I don't know, something like a role model, a lead type person.
Yeah.
And I'm just happy for me to say, you know what, I just done something bringing people together. I don't look at myself as an entrepreneur. I just look at myself as a creative person.
Yeah.
So, and I don't do anything for titles. I just do what I believe is right at times. So I'm happy with that, really.
So you're helping these people. You're helping people with those, giving them an opportunity they may not always get.
Yeah.
One of the things we're talking about is you know the criminal record culture. People that have got criminal records, and that's white as well as black. You know. How do you deal with someone like that? Because often they feel that that's it then. They got their criminal record and they feel, I can't go anywhere. And obviously working on the street is probably what you're going to end up with, right? What would you say to someone that's listening today that says, you know what, actually, I'm working for a corporate. I'm doing it because no one else will give me a job. What would you say to those sorts of people?
I think, to be honest with you, what it makes it great for me, just to answer your question, is that a lot of people contact me, but they kind of know what I do already. So because it says street to boardroom, they kind of get it. So they're 95% in. The 5% they just want to meet me. Yeah. So I've been lucky enough to partnership with companies who kind of know what I'm about already, just by the title. I want to help. So it's easier. I find out the people who work with me, the companies as well, they're the underdogs. They want to do things differently as well.
So they're quite disruptive by their nature.
They want to do things differently. So they quite have a buzz working with me, does that make sense?
Yeah.
But I would say for the person who you mentioned who maybe have a criminal record or something, it's just be authentic first and just tell people the truth. Because to be honest with you, most people nowadays are quite open to it. People want people who is real and honest.
Yeah.
And you don't get that organisation and you've been honest. It's not for you. It's a two-way interview. Because a lot of my friends, they say when they get jobs, go for jobs, and they haven't got criminal records, and they didn't get to interview the job. They think, to be honest with you, they feel quite disappointed. But I say to them, it's a two-way interview. They might not be right for you as much as you don't think they're right for them.
Yeah.
Why would you want to get yourself in a place and you have to try and fit in and then you're not happy being there? So it's all about being authentic, be real with people, and just hang on with different type of people. Because you find out a lot of people background. I get more corporate people interested in street to boardroom than actually street. So that shows
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I would
yeah.
say about 60% corporate, 40% street. So that shows you the mindset of people. And I've met some people, some millionaires, some lawyers, was their sons involved in crime.
Yeah.
So to be honest with you, and it's only because I started this brand. I've met so much different people starting the street to Boardroom than ever before.
But here's the thing, right? It's like, a criminal is someone that probably got caught, right?
Of course.
There's a whole load of people that never got caught, and so there's that street smart, that avoiding this and that and whatever, doesn't mean to say that they're, the fact that someone's got the criminal record is probably the one that got caught and the one that did it and got away with it. But at the end of the day, it's taking what they use for bad and spinning it into being able to use it for good and doing some
Well,
amazing
some people
stuff.
say that as well, just different titles.
Yeah.
Some people say the politicians are crook. Depends how you look at it, yeah? The way society's got at the moment, yeah? But they just got a different title, yeah?
I joked because my story was I was working on brands that end people's lives, right? Like cigarette and alcohol companies, whatever. And I quit because I realized it just didn't fit. But then I went to work in the financial industry as a freelancer. People said that was even worse, because there are industries out there that we expect more of.
Exactly.
But, without getting too political about it, but then you start to realize you pull the veil back. They're probably more corrupt than the people say in the jails, some of the stuff that's been going on.
You should know where you stand with the guy in the jail. You know where he is, but the guy who's maybe, I don't know, apologized to someone else, they might think differently because they got the titles, all about titles.
Yeah.
And how people look at people, suit, titles, tracksuit, street, yeah?
Yeah.
And people need to get past that because I find out that a lot of the people I know, even some people who may wear suits, they're no smarter than the people on the street. As I went through the lingo earlier.
Yeah, absolutely.
Same thing.
Great. Exactly. So I mean, from your perspective, the arts and the creatives and all this sort of stuff. Do you have an area where you almost like have a soft spot for, like, type of companies that you want to work with?
I like companies who's authentic, but not just saying authentic. I want to see authentic. Yeah. I like people who want to do things differently. But I like Virgin, kind of what Virgin does.
Okay.
Because I like the kind of stuff what he kind of does things differently.
Yeah.
Obviously, I know what you guys do as well, so I like what you guys do as well.
Good.
And I just like companies what's just, you know what? I might not know all the answers, but I'm ready to learn as well.
Okay.
Yeah? Like they're open to making things differently. Because not everybody knows everything. But I find a lot of companies just want to do the same. And I get it. A lot of times it's you're CEO of a company or you're a manager of a department and you talk about diversity and inclusion and you don't understand it, you're frightened you're going to lose your job.
Yeah.
You got a mortgage to pay, I got kids. Now I got this guy coming in who knows all about strategies and stuff like this.
Yeah.
I'm frightened my job's going to go. So what I do, I don't do anything. I do the minimum as possible.
Yeah.
But I like people who, just the kind of underdog, really, because I fight for an underdog and I am an underdog.
Yeah. Well, you're pushing back stereotypes. That's one thing. And stereotypes are people in Boardroom as much as people on the street as well, by the way. Because the Boardroom has a stereotype in itself.
Of course it does.
And so I think for you as an individual and helping people and taking them on that journey between two worlds is incredible. Because I talk about bridges a lot and I haven't met too many bridge type people. Yeah. And I think having met you today, it's like there's another one. Yeah. There's not many of them out there in the world. In fact, my next book is going to be talking about bridges. Because I spent a lot of my time driving over the old Severn Bridge. Okay. And I'm driving between England and I'm driving to Wales. Yeah. And I'm going to England and Wales. And what I realized is I was making a network connection between Bristol and Cardiff. And I started to realize, well, I'm the guy in the middle. Yeah. I'm like bringing people on a journey between two worlds. The Welsh and the English have got a perception of each other. The Welsh think they're the world's best at rugby, and then the English think they're the world's best at rugby, and then they see it on the pitch, and then we'll have these stereotypes and these quirks and these things like this. But it's like, stop competing with one another. Start thinking about how you can complete with one another. And that was that's been great for me. So like when I watch the rugby now, I'm quite torn because I'm watching the game like, I go, come on, England. And then, come on, Wales, and because you have a natural empathy for both of these people because you got to know them, you got to know their culture, you got to know who they are as people, you understand what it means, and like for instance, if you've ever been to a Welsh rugby match, oh my gosh, I watched Wales v South Africa, and the national anthem. That's more atmospheric than anything the English do with their game. It's just like wow, it's almost like a cathedral being at the game, And I'm saying, well, we've got to take time sometimes to involve ourselves in these different worlds to understand what's going on, but it's like it's getting out your comfort zone, and you've sometimes got to be the one that grabs them by the hand and leads them to be able to experience it. So
and have a vision, know where you want to get to. And that's why obviously we've got the board game as well. What we're looking to
tell us about the board game. Yeah, cool.
So we've got a Street to Boardroom Learning League House board game, and it's about starting a company. A small company, so you might start with a freelance hairdresser, and then your goal is to open a salon. So it's coming from street, small little company, to a corporate company, but also finding your happiness at the same time. So it's about being a rapper and then starting a record company. So there's no violence involved in it, but that's how we took the Street to Boardroom side to it. You start as a small little street rapper, and then you open up a record company. But you have to get happiness as well as money.
Yeah, absolutely.
So balance.
Impact over income again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I've never done a board game in my life, so I just kind of thought about it, got the right people around me, and I'm quite lucky because a lot of time when I mention name Street to Boardroom, everybody gets quite excited about it. People kind of, it's a bit different, it's kind of unique, so they're in already. Yeah. And a lot of people said to me, this can be one of the great brands to come out of Bristol.
So in terms of the board game, where would we get that from if you want?
So the plan is to kind of distribute it to be online. On my website, and then we're going to be looking at trying to get a license deal. So we're going to be selling them across the country, maybe across the world as well.
Cool. Are you actually good at the game as well? Do you win every time?
No, I don't win every time.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, I'm not that good. Yeah.
It's like Clayton wins all the time.
And it's more of a conversation game. We're just trying to make a few tweaks because I've been working on this idea about 3.5 years.
Okay.
So that's how long it takes. People think it's overnight, but a lot of things take time for me. But it's more of a discussion game. It's not really a dice game when you go around.
It's not like Monopoly then.
No, it's not that kind of more of discussion. You talk,
nice.
So it's a bit of different feedback, really. How it works.
So what you mentioned your website stuff. How do people get in touch with you? How do people get online?
So you can get to contact me on Street to Boardroom on www.streettoboardroom.com. Obviously on LinkedIn as well, and then I've got my kind of Facebook as well, really. So just kind of the emails, or you can email me at info@streettoboardroom.com as well.
So just last two things. I would say, so street background, struggling in life, don't know where I'm headed. Worth reaching out to you?
Definitely. I think most people, if you want to make a difference, you want to get involved, street life, regardless of corporate as well, you can be a mentor. And we're just looking at people who want to look at the world differently. Because I said to you, it's more about diversity and inclusion as well, not just street and Street to Boardroom. And people who really want to make the world a better place for everybody. Really want to do it. Not just say they want to do it, but really want to make a difference. And to be honest with you, even if you tell me you want to do it, but you don't know what to do, I could find something for you.
There you go.
So a lot of time people want to do something, but they don't actually know what they want to do.
So the corporate company that wants to make an impact and doesn't know where to start. Again, it's a good sort of company to get involved with you and find out possibly how they can make a difference. Clayton, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for spending some time on the Purpose People podcast. Loved your story. Love to get you back at some point. And I'd love you to get the game and maybe we'll have a couple of discussion points on the camera and stuff. That'd be amazing.
All right.
So thanks so much.
Thank you for having me.
All right, cheers.
Take care.
Please watch my dad on Purpose People podcast and like and subscribe. Thank you. Bye.